Hello, welcome everybody. So we're getting started here right now. This is the Applying Blockchain to the Information Professions presentation. And before we start, just want to thank our founding partner, San Jose State University School of Information. So my name is Christina Cornejo, and I'm a recent graduate of San Jose State University's MLIS program, and I'm here with
Welcome to this session. And Christina and Stacey will introduce themselves in just a moment.
So I'm Christina Cornejo, and I'm here with Stacey Johnson, who is a current graduate student in the program. The reason we're here is because we've spent the past year working on an MLIS-funded project headed by Principal Investigators Susan Allman and Sandra Hirsch to figure out what place blockchain technology has in the library and information sciences. So we've developed this website that you see here, the Blockchains for the Information Profession, where you can find a lot more resources and information on this topic. And it's also where we're going to be drawing a lot of the general ideas on how we can use blockchain. The goal has been to try to get more people talking and thinking of blockchain on a national level and working together to find solutions in blockchain. So we'll provide a link at the end and the one here and one here in chat for you to copy and paste. And we'll have questions at the end as well, so stay tuned for that. But first we want to get an idea of where people are from. So what is your professional background? Where do you come from? Public libraries, academic libraries, special libraries, students, or other? Go ahead and select, there should be an icon there at the top of the participants section, and A, B, C, D, or E. Okay. It looks like we've got a lot of different areas, so a lot of special libraries, academic. Let's see. I'll give you just 10 more seconds for that. Okay, all right, it looks like a lot of academic libraries are here. Welcome. So we'll move along. So we'll talk a little bit about what is blockchain.
Hi, this is Stacey Johnson. I'm going to be explaining about blockchain for those who might not have gotten the keynote or the other sessions here. Just a bit of background. Originally, blockchain was created for Bitcoin transactions. It's the backbone of the system that prevents Bitcoins from being copied or used in double spending, which means a person holding a Bitcoin would use it to buy something from one person and then turn around and use the same coin to buy something else from a different person. Blockchain is what prevents this within the system. A blockchain is made up of many blocks of information. Each block could be storing bits of information such as contracts, basic documents like property deeds, government documents, any information that needs to be retained for the future. Each of the documents would create its own block, and then each block would then be securely linked together, creating what we call a blockchain. The data in the blockchain is secure and unchangeable without alerting the rest of the blockchain that the change has been made, which makes it secure. If you were to try to change information in one of the existing blocks, for example, changing your name on the property deed to make it look like you own it, not only that deed's block, but every block before it in the chain would show as invalid. Each block is replicated on multiple computers across the network for security. And the more computers it is stored on and the farther apart they are geographically, the more secure it is. If one of the blockchains is altered, it is obvious when compared to all the rest of the identical blockchains on the other computers, and the altered one will stand out. The majority rules, and it then replaces the changed blockchain with an unchanged copy, and therefore the blockchain is now secure and unaltered again.
Okay, so there are a lot of different things that blockchain can be used for kind of in the information profession. So these are kind of our 4 main overarching points, although there's many more. So the first one is that you can potentially facilitate partnerships among centers and organizations and cities using blockchain technology. So many of the initiatives to integrate kind of public services with blockchain today are kind of centered on having one blockchain-based digital identity that follows you between organizations and services. So kind of an interesting way this is being used currently is in the Al-Zatari refugee camp in Jordan with the Building Blocks program. So since many refugees can have trouble holding on to identification paperwork and escaping their countries, the World Food Program has created a way to keep track of aid and allow refugees access to resources through a blockchain identity system. And it combines their biometric data that they collect in the organization and allows people access through retina scans, which you can see on the picture on the right. So there's actually people that are purchasing groceries by scanning their retinas, which is crazy. We're in the future now. And I'm not saying that libraries would necessarily be scanning people's retinas, but we could use a similar idea with this with this digital identity concept to kind of streamline the information that we collect from the people who are using our services. For example, in circulation, oftentimes in signing people up for cards or access to certain things, it's possible to create duplicate accounts. So with this digital identity, it's linked to one person. It's ensured that it's safe via cryptography. So there's it's very difficult to change information. It can only be changed if there's consensus within the blockchain network. And also, it's going to be a lot harder for tampering of people's personal information. Actually, since libraries tend to be strong supporters of privacy, it's also possible that people could choose which personal information to share with an agency using kind of a permission system. So something like this is already being piloted by an organization within the European Union. It's called Decode, Decentralized Citizen-Owned Data Ecosystem. They're working on creating elective sharing of personal data for government groups or companies. The benefit to this being that you don't have as much duplication of identity information collection across organizations. Because, you know, everywhere in government that you go, you have to fill in another form, repeat the same information you told to someone else. And sometimes you kind of think, well, they should know, they have the information somewhere there, but they're not linked together. So this could potentially alleviate that extra data collection with people having their own digital identity attached to them. So with blockchain, we may also be able to more seamlessly connect individuals and communities with services they may need based on community data that can be shared across organizations, such as within a city government. This kind of thinking is kind of what's behind a lot of what are called smart city projects, which are kind of aimed at integrating everything from energy and transportation to social services and business into one interconnected and standardized network. The idea is to be able to share information and see what resources are available and being used within a city in order to identify areas of need or areas of potential growth. So there's smart city projects that are already being researched or piloted in cities like Dubai, Boston, San Francisco. In Dubai, their goal is actually to create the most efficient, seamless, safe, impactful experience for residents and visitors across the board. They are hoping to integrate everything via blockchain in this smart city by 2020. So connecting data could mean greater opportunities for analysis within libraries of areas where people are being underserved, ways that they can reach out to people in a community, bringing them into the library in a public library setting. You could also get together a coalition of like-minded organizations and facilitate communication and information sharing on a private blockchain. There are already organizations that have services that kind of cross over with what libraries do, and it could create an opportunity for more information sharing on solutions, at least in the public library sphere, to homelessness, literacy, and education. For special libraries, issues of public health, for health libraries, or just big topics that generally require assistance and information from different organizations in order to make a difference. So another way information centers like libraries can kind of work together with communities is by serving as information ambassadors to data found within public blockchains. They can help improve open access to public data by making sure that information meant for the public remains available. So information centers and libraries can curate and even validate this data. So this idea, again, of general consensus in order to change and update information. Libraries could serve a role as providing a means to validate and provide consensus for any changes to information. And they can also present it to the community in a format in which people can view it and understand it. And this really coincides with a lot of work that people are doing with open data initiatives and trying to get libraries to look at their position in communities as civic centers and help people find and access information that they have a right to view and access. So it could get a lot easier to do that if cities, for example, are looking to integrate their citywide data as well.
Okay, so one more possible application for blockchains is to assist with the IPFS. The Interplanetary File System is a new technology that's been getting a lot of notice recently, just like blockchain has. It's meant to replace the HTTP, which is the hypertext transfer protocol that the internet uses currently. The idea being that it would replace it with a distributed website data across many, many servers instead of using centralized servers, which is another strong point of the blockchain itself. One of the problems with the current system is that it's currently being overburdened by a lot of the new tech advances. For example, the widespread use of streaming video through Netflix and Hulu and all of those, YouTube and stuff. Another problem is that the websites and the information often disappear when their owners move on to something else, and a lot of information is lost that way. With the IPFS, on the other hand, because data is distributed across many systems, if one server goes offline or breaks, the information is still available on another server. This also helps prevent the denial of service attacks from being successful. Also, if you've ever gone to download something that's been scheduled release time, and the site has been giving errors instead of letting you download it, the IPFS would help in that because it's distributed. It would prevent the problems caused by a sudden spike in download requests to one server system. And this is because multiple systems store the same content and provide faster downloads, similar to what torrents do today or in the past. Just like a torrent, one download is split into different pieces, and each piece is downloaded from a different computer to make the file download faster. Working along the IPFS, blockchain would find its niche in being the ideal way to store the name or the permanent link to the data or the website. Plus, it provides a secure version history. IPFS provides the data storage to store the websites and the information, and the blockchain would provide the searchability and provide the secure history of the websites and the information on the IPFS. So second use for the blockchain would involve remaking the current sharing economy. If you've ever used services like Uber or perhaps a bike share like Linebike in Phoenix, you probably know what that sharing economy is. The sharing economy today is controlled by companies like Uber, Airbnb, and others who all set the rules and prices and then take their own fees off the top. And the blockchain would provide the ability to make what is called smart contracts and record those in the blockchain. The smart contracts can be made between anyone, including between unrelated individuals. This ability to form nearly instant contracts between people could invite a new sharing economy without the companies in the middle, which would eliminate company fees and also allow individuals to set their own rules and prices for whatever services or items they're providing. Smart contracts are transparent and secure, so once both parties agree to the terms and it's recorded in the blockchain, both parties can trust that the agreement is unchangeable and can be brought up if there's a dispute between them. Now, libraries could use the blockchain in the same way. In place of our current systems to track library items, this way a patron could log in and create a smart contract to transfer a library item from their account to another person's account, and just hand off the book to a friend without ever entering the library. Libraries will also be a community resource on how to use and access the new sharing economy, just as we have for other technologies. The new sharing economy, when it enters our communities, everybody will look into libraries to help learn about the technology. Other possible uses of blockchains include a blockchain-based replacement for OCLC, and a possible use for science researchers. OCLC, for those that don't use it, is a source for item records and descriptions to copy into our catalogs for new items. The blockchain could create a way to create a free and open copy catalog that anyone can download from and approved people could contribute to. This would give a decentralized and free way for even those small libraries to be able to catalog their items easily and for free. The second option is there is an open discussion on a Google Doc on a site called blockchainforscience.com that I found very interesting. They're talking about lots of different ways to use blockchain in the sciences, and anybody can go and contribute to it as it's an open document. One interesting thing that comes up would be to use blockchains to record an idea or hypothesis before you do your experiments, or recording your experiment results once you get them. The idea being that once you've recorded it into the blockchain, it creates a timestamp of the time and date and creates a proof of existence in case anybody disputes your ownership or what the results were later. I've listed the link there. You just go to information in the living documents.
Okay, and so a kind of a more I guess fun way of using blockchain in libraries is using badges for skills training. There's been some open source initiatives such as IBM Open Badge, MIT Digital Certificates Project, offering badges as digital credentials for certain types of education through blockchain. So an example on the right is from MIT's Digital Certificates Project. And so there is an actual blockchain address where you can actually see where this is located on the blockchain and verify its validity. And so you have right here a thing, it's almost like a piece of a resume that lets you know that you have certain skills that can be applied to a workplace. So this can help to identify credentials within your own organizations and libraries, needs for training for employees. And also from a library programming perspective, if you're in public libraries, you could also use it to encourage library use or literacy development through gamification. So using these badges as kind of a reward for attaining a certain level of literacy might be interesting.
All right, so the last possible blockchain use we would like to talk about is digital first sale rights. So first sale rights for physical items have been established and accepted for a long time. This is the right you have to resell a book or DVD or other physical item that you've purchased at a store. It also gives you the right to donate the item to the library when you're done with it. Digital items, on the other hand, have been argued to be both easily copied and they don't degrade in quality the more they're used like a physical copy would. Attaining the first sale rights would open up a lot of possibilities for libraries, both in donations and bringing prices down. Currently, the only courts that have faced this are lower courts, and they've kind of passed on it by making comments about that you're still copying it, even if some of the software that has been presented has copied the original and then deleted the original securely. They still fall back on the idea that you're still copying it. Congress has not faced this yet, It has not said anything. What blockchain could provide is a secure and transparent way to prove ownership, both for the copyright holder and the first purchaser that gets it from the store. Blockchain can also provide a secure and transparent smart contract to show when that ownership has been transferred. For either the purchase or a donation, it would show who that item is being transferred to, so it would provide ownership at all times. There already exists a system now to make sure the original is destroyed when the copy is transferred to the new owner. So given these two advantages that blockchain could provide, will Congress consider allowing digital resales? Of course, we at the library certainly hope so.
Okay, and so there are many other ideas and potential uses for blockchain in the information profession. Some of them you'll hear more about in more detail during this conference, but other ideas may come from people like you. So if anyone is interested in exploring this further and visiting our website and blog, it's here at ischoolblogs.sjsu.edu/blockchain. Or if you'd like to become a contributor to our blog and talk about your own research or ideas on the subject, you can contact Susan Allman at susan.allman@sjsu.edu. So these are our resources, and we're opening up for questions. And also for anybody who might be leaving at this point, we just ask that you take time to fill out the survey that pops up at the end. Let us know how we did and how the conference can be better in the future. So let's open up questions. Yeah, go ahead and type in the chat if you have any questions. Let us know. Oh, the largest use of blockchain. That is, I guess, probably linking people together, linking information together in a way that hasn't really been linked together before. I mean, there's the internet, obviously, but I guess there's kind of information spread out everywhere, and if you can kind of link together similar ideas, similar people on nodes, you can kind of have that information shared more closely with, I guess, people and organizations that are more relevant to that information. Let's see, the question, e-portfolios did not take off as once predicted. Do you think blockchain applications of the same will? I'm not sure if I know about e-portfolios personally. I don't know if Stacey has anything on that. It's difficult because blockchain is very much in the beginning stages of the technology and applying it to things outside of currency. So a lot of things are kind of still ideas being formulated and how it can be used, and we're kind of waiting on people to begin developing some of these more relevant applications.
I think e-portfolios actually would fit into the badge systems that we were talking about, that Christina talked about. They could definitely take advantage of the badge systems that people are proposing to put on blockchain for career and training systems.
And let's see. We'll have to do maybe like one or two more questions.
Yeah, for Harold, yeah, what I was talking about with the digital sales would apply a lot to that, or a very similar system. It really depends on the courts and how the courts approach some of this stuff. The DRM is kind of a legal thing, and the legal restrictions on a lot of things. Hopefully it will help.
There's also a question about how blockchain can be used in archives, which is kind of interesting because there's a lot of work being done on archives separately, I think, in different areas. And I think blockchain, if you have different archive organizations or archivists kind of linked together via blockchain, you might be able to develop kind of one big, maybe even database of information that can be shared or updated collectively among different archivists. And maybe you include people who are, depending on what you're archiving, people from like the history fields and others that can kind of weigh in on issues related to archives and the information that you need to save and share within that community. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, so I think we have to actually start clearing out of this room soon. We have to be out of here by 2. So definitely, if you have any more questions, you can contact us at the website, and I think there should also be links to our individual accounts as well, if you want to contact us on Twitter and whatnot.
And for Nate Stone, just one last real quick answer. If you type in IPFS into Google, you'll get a lot of hits back. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of good basics.